If you've ever wondered how commercial real estate investors decide on an offer price for a property, the underwriting process is the key to making that happen. And unlike single-family home sales, where the price per square foot of similar properties in the area will typically have the biggest influence on pricing, coming up with a value for a commercial property involves a lot more moving pieces. So in this video, we'll break down the underwriting process that commercial real estate investors use when evaluating new acquisition and development opportunities, and the most important things to think about when analyzing a deal. So the first thing you'll need to get started with the real estate underwriting process is a financial model that you can use to create projected cash flows. This model also needs to be dynamic, meaning that the cash flow projections you create in this pro forma will automatically update as assumptions in the model are changed. Now, there are a lot of different ways to build a real estate financial model, but regardless of whether you start with one of our pre-built templates that we have inside Break Into CRE Academy, or you decide to use a different resource altogether, the goal here is to have a clear and straightforward model that you can use to analyze different scenarios quickly in a format that you can understand. Now, once you have your underwriting model up and running, the first part of the underwriting process itself is adding some basic information about the deal that would be important to know when analyzing a potential investment. This typically includes things like the location of the property, the year the property was built, and the number of units or the total square footage of the building, and these things can usually be found directly within an offering memorandum put together by the broker. And from there, once that information is added, you could start to add some inputs that will directly impact the cash flows you can expect to generate as an investor, starting with the property's in-place revenue and expenses. This information can usually be found in a current rent roll, which lists the key lease information for each commercial suite or multifamily unit at a property, and a seller's T12 financial statements will show the trailing 12 months of actual revenue and expenses. And from a rent roll perspective, the biggest things to look for here will be the base rent owed by each tenant, along with any scheduled rent increases over time, and you'll also want to incorporate any other charges associated with each lease, like monthly parking fees, monthly storage fees, or any operating expense reimbursement structures that the tenant might be subject to. And from an operating expense perspective, you'll want to get a sense of what ordinary operating expenses have looked like in the past. And you'll also want to identify any major fluctuations or outliers in those financials that could be a sign of other issues going on that you'd ultimately need to address. Now, once the property's in-place operating information is added into your model, the next step in the underwriting process is incorporating your operating assumptions going forward on the deal. These operating assumptions will typically fall into one of three main categories, which are operating cash flow assumptions, capital cost assumptions, and releasing assumptions for those in-place tenants. Now, for operating cash flow assumptions, these are going to include things like assumed market rent growth over time, assumed operating expense growth over time, and assumed vacancy levels at the property each year, all of which will usually require some market research to ultimately pin down. And for capital cost assumptions, these are going to include both the timing and the amounts of your projected construction costs on the deal, which will almost always require the input of an experienced general contractor. And for commercial properties, so retail, office, and industrial deals, leasing assumptions, when either in-place leases expire or vacant spaces are expected to be leased up at a property, can have a huge impact on the projected performance of a deal, and these will often require the input of an experienced leasing agent in the market that can guide you on things like expected downtime between leases, current market rents for each suite, and any TI allowances or brokerage commissions that you can expect to pay when a new lease is signed. Now, once your operating assumptions are added into your model, the next step in the underwriting process is adding your projected debt financing assumptions and the terms of that loan. This includes adding things like the projected loan amount, the loan term, the amortization period, the interest rate, and potentially even an interest-only period, and this could also include refinance projections if the initial loan term is shorter than the projected hold. And all of this information will usually come directly from a lender or a mortgage broker. And while you typically won't be able to get concrete loan terms that you can rely on before a property is under contract, this will at least get you in the ballpark when making your projections. Now, once you have your loan information in your model, the next step of the underwriting process is to add your sale assumptions on the deal, including both how much you plan to sell the property for and when you plan to exit the investment. In the vast majority of real estate acquisition and development models, sale values are going to be calculated based on what's referred to as an exit cap rate assumption, which takes the next buyer's projected first year of net operating income and then divides that by what that investor believes cap rates will be in the market at the time the property is sold. Now, this can be one of the hardest and one of the highest stakes assumptions you'll need to make during the entire underwriting process, since this can have such a big impact on the projected returns on a deal. But in general, investors will underwrite cap rate movement based on where they believe both interest rates and investor demand for commercial real estate will ultimately end up trending over time. If interest rates are expected to rise and demand for commercial real estate is expected to fall, investors will typically underwrite cap rates expanding or increasing over that going in cap rate on a deal. And if interest rates are expected to fall and demand for commercial real estate is expected to rise, investors will typically underwrite cap rates to either stay the same, to be conservative, or even sometimes to compress or decrease slightly during that projected hold period. The costs associated with selling a property can also have a material impact on overall investment performance, with brokerage commissions, closing costs, and transfer taxes often eating up anywhere from about 2% to 5% of the gross sale proceeds on a deal. So this is also something that needs to be incorporated into a financial model. Now, finally, once we have all of this information within our pro forma, the last step of this process is to come up with a valuation on the deal based on target returns. In most cases, equity investors are investing in real estate in the first place to generate an IRR, equity multiple, and or cash on cash return, and the projected offer price on a transaction will need to be adjusted based on those requirements. And this means that if an investor is targeting a 12% IRR over a 5-year investment period and the asking price on a deal is $10 million, if that $10 million purchase price in your model only gets that investor to a 9% IRR over that time frame, that offer price will end up being reduced until those return targets are hit. Now, obviously, real estate investment underwriting is a forward-looking process, and the projections an investor makes aren't guaranteed to materialize, but ultimately this is the process that commercial real estate investors use to come up with evaluations and projected returns on a deal. And if you want to learn more about how to use a pre-built pro forma model to analyze real estate acquisition and development opportunities, or you want to learn how to build out your own real estate underwriting models from scratch in Excel, make sure to check out our all-in-one membership training platform, Breaking a CRE Academy. A membership to the Academy will give you instant access to over 120 hours of video training on real estate financial modeling and analysis. You'll get access to hundreds of practice Excel interview exam questions, sample acquisition case studies, and you'll also get access to the Breaking a CRE Analyst Certification exam, which covers topics like real estate pro forma and development modeling, commercial real estate lease modeling, equity waterfall modeling, and many other real estate financial analysis concepts that will help you prove to employers that you have what it takes to tackle the responsibilities of an analyst or associate at a top real estate firm. And if you like this video and you want to see more content on the real estate underwriting process, make sure to hit the like button and let me know. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to see any of the steps we talked about covered in more detail in a future video. As always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to see more videos like this every single week, and I'll see you in the next video.